K-pop Demon Hunters, the Junior Novelization. Chapter 14. Rumi sat on her bed holding the lyrics of their new diss track, Takedown. She sang them while Derpy napped, curled up on her floor. Sussy perched on top of his head. Rumi sighed. The message behind the new song did not sit right with her. She crossed out a line and started writing her own. When your patterns start to show, I see a pain that lies below, she sang sadly. On the bed next to Rumi sat the first card she had received from Jinu. When she picked it up, Derpy jumped to his feet. Calm down, I'm not going to meet him, she said, petting his nose. There was a knock at the door, and Rumi heard someone clear their throat. Rumi, Mira called. Rumi spun toward Derpy and whispered, You gotta get out of here, come on. She nudged him to leave, and he began sinking into a portal he created in the floor. Rumi hurriedly grabbed all the papers off her bed. I can hear you in there, Mira said. Yeah, give me a minute. Rumi shoved the papers with her new lyrics in the wastebasket. Just as he was almost out of the room, Derpy heard a metallic clang. He poked his head up through the floor portal and saw it. The basket had fallen over. He had to push it back upright. Rumi finally opened the door to Mira, who was wearing a cozy sweater dress with her arms wrapped tightly across her chest. What are you doing? Mira asked cautiously. Rumi tried not to act suspicious. Nothing. Just, did you want to come in? Clearly wanting to be invited in, Mira began rambling. Yeah, if you want me to come in, I can come in. She walked inside and turned her back to Rumi, glancing at the box of tonics on a shelf. Rumi realized she was still holding Jinu's card and quickly hid it behind her. The wastebasket rattled. Rumi spotted Derpy's paw sticking out from behind her bed as he tried to adjust the basket. She ran to fix it before Mira noticed, then threw a blanket over Derpy. I heard you singing, said Mira, trying to make conversation. You sound good. Rumi let out a nervous laugh. Yeah, who would have thought those tonics actually work? Mira turned around and picked up a paper that had fallen out of the basket. Scanning it, she asked, So why are you changing our lyrics? Rumi trailed off. She didn't like their new single at all. Do you really think this is the right song to beat Guima? It's so hateful. Mira couldn't believe what she was hearing. Yeah, she said, stating the obvious, because we hate him, and we hate demons. No, I know. Mira stared at Rumi, barely recognizing her. She couldn't hold back her words anymore. Okay, what is up with you? Mira demanded. I could swear the other day you were talking to a demon. Rumi hesitated. Mira cut her off. And woo, Jinu? What was that about? Rumi made another excuse. I was playing him up to psych him out. Get in his head. Look, I'm pretty good at reading people. Actually, I'm kind of an expert at it, and I just can't shake the feeling that you're keeping something from me. Rumi dropped down onto the blanket that covered Derpy. Holding his tail behind her back, she lied again. Mira, I'm not keeping anything from you. I promise. Hearing this, Mira exhaled, calming down a little. Sorry, I sound nuts. I guess these demons are just getting to me. She let out a laugh. I can't wait until every one of them is destroyed and sent back to suffer with Guima for eternity. Right, Rumi? Rumi spoke without any conviction in her voice. Yeah, eternal suffering. Sounds fun. Not feeling like they resolved anything, Mira left Rumi alone in her room. She frowned, frustrated and confused at why Rumi was acting so strange lately. Rumi sat gloomily on her bed. Her shoulders slumped. She picked up a save-the-date card and placed it on Derpy's tongue. In a new video, Saja Boys spoke directly to their fans. Hey, everybody, said Romance. Our fan club just hit 50 million fans, announced Abby. While the video played, the fan who had worn the Rude Jinu shirt at the Huntrix signing shopped in a convenience store. As she picked up a Saja Boys branded soda can, a demon wearing a large black gat materialized behind her. The soda can dropped to the floor with a metallic clatter. She was gone. The video continued. We have to give a shout out to Huntrix. We couldn't have done it without their support, Romance said. Meanwhile, at a bus stop, another unsuspecting Saja Boys fan watched his video on his phone. A demon appeared behind him and sucked out his soul. Mystery Saja spoke now. And to our fans, thank you. We really feed off your energy. On a different screen, a newscaster made their daily report. In other news, the amount of missing persons reports have tripled in the last 24 hours. In the demon realm, blue soul energy streaked through the skies, heading for Guima's palace. Jinu and Derpy stood on a hammock roof, watching as the flames grew higher. The fiery pink light flickered on Jinu's face. Suddenly, Derpy opened his mouth. On his tongue was a card decorated with a duck. Save the date. Chapter 15. Jinu leaned back casually, his arms propped up on the Noxon wall. He sighed and flipped the save the date card in his fingers. Glancing down at it, he muttered, "She wants to meet me, and she's late?" He turned around and saw Rumi perched on the wall behind him, mere inches from his face. "Ah!" He let out a high-pitched shriek and stumbled backward. "You made me come all the way out here just so you could jump scare me?" "Follow me." Rumi started walking up the hill with Jinu behind her. "Well," he said, regaining his cool demeanor, "I'm glad you're finally ready to talk. Although you could have picked somewhere nicer for a date." Horrified, Rumi cut him off. "Date? No, ew! What are you talking about?" Jinu held up the card that said save the date. "That doesn't mean, ugh," she groaned. "You're so old." Rumi grabbed the card from him. "This is strictly a business meeting," she informed him. He put his hands up in surrender. "Okay, loud and clear. What if I told you there's another way to get your freedom?" she asked. Jinu was intrigued. "Go on." Rumi stopped and turned to Jinu to reveal her plan. "Help us win the awards show." She jumped on the wall and summoned a shimmer of blue Han Moon energy before continuing. "Because when we win, the Han Moon will be sealed, and that will guarantee your freedom." Jinu stared, considering her words. Rumi looked down at the city, the Han Moon sparkling a soulful blue. Guima will be permanently cut off, and all the demons will be gone from this world. I will finally be free of these patterns. No more hiding, no more secrets. She hopped off the wall and faced Jinu. "You can be on this side when the Han Moon is sealed, away from the demon world, away from Guima." Rumi got closer to Jinu. "You can be free from those voices forever." But Jinu wouldn't meet her eyes. "What makes you think the Han Moon can save a guy like me? A guy who tried to help his family? You made a mistake, Jinu." He shook his head. "It's not that simple." Rumi finally admitted her own shame, the pain she had carried with her all her life. "But I am a mistake." Jinu looked at her, shocked that that was how she felt. Rumi plowed forward. "I've been since the moment I was born. So I have to believe. Because if there's no hope for you, what hope is there for me?" They locked eyes, but the shared moment was broken by a passing vendor. "Bracelet for your beautiful girlfriend?" she asked. Jinu and Rumi launched into denial, talking over each other to set the record straight. "Oh no, we're not," Jinu chuckled. "Oh no," Rumi gagged. "She's not even my type," Jinu protested. Rumi scoffed, offended. "Excuse me? I'm everyone's type." "You can't even show up on time," he countered. "What are you, from the 1900s? "I can see why you're still single," Jinu muttered. While they continued to bicker, the Ajumma stared at them. She walked toward Jinu and sized him up. Her lips pursed. She turned toward Rumi and handed her a knot bracelet with an intricate chrysanthemum design, woven together with silky blue and purple cords. "Here, free one, go find yourself a better boy. This one is hopeless." Then she walked away, rolling her eyes. "Well," said Jinu matter-of-factly, "there's your answer. Hopeless." Rumi clutched her new bracelet. "That's the funny thing about hope. Nobody else gets to decide if you feel it." She extended the bracelet to Jinu. "That choice belongs to you." Chinu remained rooted to the spot. Rumi rolled her eyes. Fine, your loss. She started to walk away, but Chinu grabbed her wrist. Rumi looked back at him, and they met each other's gaze. Their eyes widened as they both felt a spark, until Chinu dropped her hand and broke the connection. Oh, said Chinu awkwardly. I was just trying to get the bracelet. Oh yeah, the bracelet. Rumi handed it to him. For what it's worth, I don't think you're a mistake, said Chinu earnestly. The spark between them rekindled for a moment, but neither of them knew what to do with it. Okay, bye, yelled Rumi, putting an end to their meeting. Bye, replied Chinu in a sing-song voice as they awkwardly parted ways. Nearby, Derpy and the magpie emerged from behind a giant bush. They had watched the entire scene unfold. The bird trilled softly. Chapter 16. Rumi watched fan videos on her phone. All of them were anticipating the big award show performance. I need to see Golden live. When is the live performance? Thank goodness I didn't hold my breath for this Huntrix live performance, because I'd be dead by now. The awards are tomorrow, and I need to know, is Rumi going to give us a real performance? Beep. She turned off her phone and sighed. Later, Huntrix was on stage rehearsing Takedown for the big performance. Their dance moves were killer. The song was on point. Everything looked great. Suddenly, Rumi stopped dancing. What's going on? Mira asked, annoyed. Why are we stopping? It's just, these lyrics are throwing me off. I don't think they're right just yet. Mira scowled. Seriously? Now? Zoey grabbed her notebook and flipped through the pages, trying to keep the peace. No, it's fine. It's the second verse, right? How about when the patterns start to show, the whole world will finally know that you're depraved? Rumi shook her head. So Zoey tried another. My sword will happily show you to your grave. You will be pummeled until there are no remains? Rumi kept shaking her head. No, Zoey, it's the whole song. Hurt and frustrated, Zoey replied. Oh, okay, great. Well, then I might as well just tear these all up. She attempted to rip up her notebook, but it was too thick to tear. Mira tried to reason with Rumi. We don't have time to change the lyrics, even if we wanted to. The awards are tomorrow. But Rumi stood her ground. Well, I don't think I can sing this song. Bobby entered at this tense moment, his arms full of snacks. Hey girls, just wanted to bring some last-minute pick-me-ups. He went to set them down on the platform behind them. I know things have been really stressful lately, and you've been working so hard on the show routine. All of a sudden, the girls saw a wave of pink flicker through the Han moon. Something was wrong. They raced off while Bobby continued to talk. For what it's worth, I am proud of you, and I just want you to know that I'm here for literally anything you... He turned around to find himself alone. Need. Sad and dejected, he took out his phone to see a colorful Saja Boys video with Soda Pop playing. When the song ended, Chinu addressed the viewers. Join the pride. We need you. Bobby stared mesmerized as a small smile spread across his lips. Underground, a subway train raced down the track. Faceless purple demons crawled on top of it. Huntrix slayed each one, still arguing about rehearsal as they stood on the roof of the racing train. Seriously, what is your problem? Demanded Mira. Rumi swung her sword into a demon. I told you, that song, I'm not talking about the song. I'm talking about you. Mira slammed her weapon down on the roof. Why are you questioning everything we stand for when we're so close to sealing the Han moon? What are you not telling us, Rumi? Rumi stuttered. What are you hiding from us? Mira yelled, grabbing Rumi's shoulder, preventing her from turning away. Rumi shook her off. She knew she couldn't tell Mira the truth, so she bit back. Not everything is about your insecurities, Mira. This stopped Mira dead in her tracks, as though Rumi had hit her. Her hair was blown back by the wind of the speeding train. Seeing how badly she had hurt her friend, Rumi tried to backtrack. Mira, I didn't mean... Before Rumi could say another word, Zoey yelled, Would you two stop fighting each other and look? Rumi turned around in the distance where there was a gaping hole in the Han moon growing larger by the second. A horde of faceless monsters spilled out from the tear and scrambled over each other toward the train. Mira glared at Rumi. "If you're with us, prove it." The girls got into formation, weapons at the ready, and launched themselves straight into the mob. They sang Takedown as they fought. Zoey rapped her verse, impaling demons with her daggers, and then Mira sang, swinging her scepter and taking out all her frustration from the argument with Rumi on the monsters. Rumi slashed a demon with her sword, and distress twisted her expression as she sang about demons not deserving to live. Was everything she had been taught about demons being unfeeling a lie? Did she not deserve to live either? In that moment of distraction, an enormous troll-like creature holding a spiked club hit her, and she went flying backward. "Roomie!" screamed her friends. Inside the car, none of the passengers noticed the ongoing battle. They stared at their phones as demons swarmed the train, covering its windows and filling it with darkness. The enormous demon raised his club to finish Rumi off, but Zoey threw a dagger at it, and Mira slayed it with her curved blade. The two girls fought off more of the faceless beasts, until Mira raised her scepter high and slammed it down, creating a shockwave of Han Moon energy that blasted the remaining monsters. Zoey and Mira looked over at Rumi, who was still on the ground trying to catch her breath. Rumi's eyes widened as she suddenly remembered. "The passengers!" The girls wrenched the train door open. They were too late. The only sound came from a phone lit up with a Saja Boys video. "Join the pride," said Jinu's voice. The train came to a stop and the girls exited, utterly defeated. Zoey and Mira started walking away from Rumi. Without glancing back, Mira said, "Whatever you think about the song, it doesn't matter right now. Everything is at stake, and we just need to get through this together." Zoey lingered for a moment, also unable to look at Rumi. "You know I'm always on your side," she said, "but it's really hard to understand this time. We can't win this without your voice, Rumi." Zoey walked off, leaving Rumi alone. Rumi remembered how Jinu looked when she had given him the bracelet, how there had been a connection between them. Rumi spoke to herself, a new determination in her voice. "Trust me, I'm going to make sure we win." Chapter 17. Jinu stood alone beside a HUNTR wall, waiting. In the city beyond, building lights twinkled against the night sky. He could hear his heartbeat as the flashback of his crying sister and mother filled his mind. Derpy nudged his arm, shaking him back to the present. Sussy perched on the tiger's head. Jinu chuckled as he ran his hand over the tiger's fur. Rumi arrived and pet Derpy too. She spoke to Jinu like an old friend. "Okay, so I've been meaning to ask, why does the bird wear a tiny hat?" Jinu looked at her solemnly. "I made it for the tiger, but the bird keeps taking it." Sussy gave them a mischievous smile, making Rumi and Jinu laugh. Rumi turned serious. "So, about tomorrow, have you thought about my proposal?" She and Jinu stood side by side, their backs to the HUNTR wall. She stole a glance at Jinu, but he kept his eyes straight ahead. "Look, I want to believe in your crazy plan, but..." He let out a breath. "I don't think I'm the one to help you." "Actually, you already have," she said. Jinu looked up at her in surprise as she went on. "I spent my whole life keeping the secret, this shame of what I am. And the more I hid this shame, the more it grew and grew until it started to destroy the one thing that gave me a purpose, my voice." She started to express her feelings toward him. "But since I've met you, and the more I talk to you, I don't understand it, but somehow my voice has healed." Rumi began to sing, her voice strong as she continued to reveal the truth. How with Jinu, she found the strength to be honest. She knew that together they could face their past and be free of their shame. She walked through the rooftop gardens, her beautiful voice ringing into the night. Jinu followed her with Derpy close behind. He watched as the Han moon reacted around her, growing more vibrant with each melodic note. Jinoo hung back as Rumi walked ahead. Suddenly, he sang a verse of his own, telling Rumi that she was awakening feelings in him that he hadn't expected. As he continued, Jinoo caught the reflection of his yellow eyes in a window and turned away in anguish. But when he saw Rumi standing across from the rooftop where he stood, his eyes faded back to something more human. She looked at him like no one else did, like he was someone with a beautiful soul. Crossing the rooftops, they locked eyes, and their voices joined. Their paces quickened as they approached the edge of the roof and stepped off into the night. But they didn't fall. Rumi and Jinoo began to soar. They floated into the sky, closing the distance between them. The Han moon glowed as they reached for each other. Their hands touched, their patterns visible. They twirled magically through the skies, holding hands and gazing deeply into each other's eyes until the garden rematerialized around them. Rumi put a hand to her throat, looking hopeful that her voice was back to full strength. Jinoo touched his ear, waiting to hear Guima once again, but I don't hear his voice, he said in disbelief. I'll make sure the Saja Boys lose tomorrow. Rumi smiled, and we'll both win. As she walked away, Jinoo's smile quickly faded. He started to tell her something. Rumi, wait, But when he saw her face full of warmth and hope, he lost his courage. I can't wait to see you on that stage tomorrow. Rumi smiled again and left. Jinoo lingered alone. Suddenly, whispers filled his ears. His wrists burned as his patterns gleamed a violent pink. He knew what was coming next. Chapter 18. Jinoo landed on his back in front of Guima's palace. Overhead, blue souls streaked across the sky like shooting stars, heading for the Demon King. Jinoo's eyes clouded with worry as he got to his feet. Below, a horde of demons stared up at him, terrified. What's with the long faces? Jinoo asked hearteningly. Everything's going to plan. Look at all these souls, huh? Turn around, a demon whispered. Behind Jinoo was Guima's palace, now restored to its former glory, bigger and more palatable than ever. It's funny, Guima said in his rumbling voice. I thought for a moment you actually believed you could be free. He let out a terrible laugh. Jinoo chuckled uncertainly. Haha, yeah, that's funny. Because if you really believed her, Guima said threateningly, if you really thought you could escape what you are, what you did. Jinoo was hit with a sharp pain as Guima engulfed him in memories. You would have told her the truth, Guima finished. Again, Jinoo saw his mother and sister standing helplessly behind two guards' swords. But this time, he saw himself let go of his sister's hand as she cried out for him. Appa! Appa! Guima's torment continued. You betrayed your own family. You left them behind. Jinoo's patterns flared. His hands trembled. Don't forget about our deal, Jinoo, because I can turn those voices up. Jinoo now saw an imperial door shutting out his mom and sister as he abandoned them. The voices became intolerably loud, and Jinoo whimpered, his eyes brimming with tears. Or, suddenly there was a total silence. They can be gone. Jinoo stood, shaking and panting as the silence rang in his ears. Guima gave his final warning. Don't think you can escape what you are. Chapter 19. Rumi rode on Derpy's back as he bounded through Seoul's skies, crossing over the Han River. Each of his steps landed with a powerful burst of blue Han moon energy. Rumi thought back to when she was a teenager, when she refused to go with Mira and Zoey to the bathhouse because she had to keep her patterns hidden. Maybe they'll understand, she said to Celine. No, Rumi, nothing can change until your patterns are gone. Derpy landed lightly on Rumi's balcony and she petted him gratefully. Everything's set, she told him. She looked toward the penthouse, where she knew Mira and Zoey were inside. Well, almost everything. The next morning, Rumi gathered the girls around the couch. Look, she began sadly, the last few weeks have been hard, and I admit I haven't been at my best. But I know we can win tomorrow. We just have to sing the right song, and Takedown isn't... Mira stopped her. It's okay, Rumi. It's not the song that's going to connect all our fans. It can't even connect us, Zoey added. Mira sighed, ready to be vulnerable. I know our faults and fears should never be seen, but look, I'm kind of a difficult person. Overly blunt, short-fused, highly aggressive. My whole life, those things were a liability, but somehow with you guys, they're okay. I feel the same way, Zoe admitted. Before I joined Huntrix, I felt like my thoughts and my lyrics and all my notebooks were useless and weird. But with the two of you, they mean something. I mean something. Rumi put a hand on Zoe's shoulder. I'm afraid of losing you guys too, and that's why we have to finish this. She looked at both her friends. All these fears? It's the demons talking. But tomorrow we can win this war. And when the Hun Moon is sealed, we will be free of these demons, free of these fears forever. Rumi was so hopeful that she would finally be free of her patterns that she made a suggestion she knew the girls would love. And then we can take a hiatus. Maybe go to the bathhouse together? What? Mira exclaimed. Zoe squealed. You mean the women's bathhouse, not the men's bathhouse? Let's do it! Delighted, Mira held a fist in the air and declared, I will fight for a spa day with you. Zoe paused. Wait, so what song are we singing? She yelled, Takedown! Just as Rumi and Mira shouted, Golden. Zoe grinned sheepishly. I mean golden. Definitely golden. It's a song about the best of us, said Rumi, smiling. Rumi, is your voice good to go? Asked Mira. Never been stronger, declared Rumi, her self-confidence restored. Zoe put out an arm. Happy fans? Huntrix joined hands before finishing their toast. Happy Han Moon! They jumped up and down cheering, their friendship finally restored. Chapter 20. It was time for the award show. A promo reel showed the award host traveling through the city, holding light sticks for Huntrix and Saja Boys. Carvings of members from both groups appeared atop a snow-capped mountain as the host's voice called over the scene. 2 bands, 1 award. Every snowflake is special, but one snowflake is probably the best. Who will be at the top of the mountain? Fans from around the universe will decide. In an area filled with screaming fans, the host walked across the stage, which was decorated with a hanok backdrop. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for. Here are the 5-year reigning champs of the award show. Huntrix versus the heart-stealing newcomers, the Saja Boys. The audience went wild cheering for both groups. Who will win? Asked the host. Backstage, Huntrix walked down the hallway with Bobby as the Saja Boys passed them. Chinu looked at Rumi and gave her a nod. The plan was still on. Mira glared. Ugh, look at that smug face. I'm gonna frickin' smash it. Save it for the stage, Rumi replied. Meanwhile, the award host announced the first performance. Please welcome to the stage, the Saja Boys. Saja Boys, Saja Boys, Saja Boys, the audience chanted. Lights illuminated the stage, but the Saja Boys were nowhere to be seen. The music cut out, leaving the crowd shocked and confused. Inside the green room, Mira angrily punched a boxing bag with Abby Saja's abs printed over it. I hate abs, she shouted. Bobby burst through the door. Girls, the Saja Boys are fighting. They gasped, What? That means we're on now, exclaimed Bobby happily. The girls huddled together, all smiles. "Okay, this is it," said Rumi. "For the fans." "For the world," said Zoey. "For us," said Mira. They pulled each other into a group hug. As they headed for the stage, Bobby said, "Yes! We win this, and then we celebrate with the Taiwan corn dogs." "Woo!" cheered Zoey. "Gaja! Gaja! Gaja!" On stage, the baffled host tried to regain his composure. Okay, there's been a slight change in schedule. Here to perform their hot new single, Golden, is Huntrix!" Music filled the concert hall and the stage illuminated, turning a lustrous gold. Behind the girls was a stunning landscape painting depicting mountains and waterfalls. Screams from the crowd echoed through the arena. "We love you, Rumi!" The audience held its breath as Rumi began to sing. The girls were giving their best performance ever, singing and dancing flawlessly across the stage. Zoey and Mira nailed their verses, and fans sang and danced along. Backstage, Bobby beamed with pride as he watched the girls on the monitor, dancing and singing along with them. The lights dimmed, and Mira and Zoey exited the stage as Rumi prepared for her solo. The crowd quieted as a spotlight shone down on her. Rumi collected herself as her voice crescendoed, and she hit every note, belting out the chorus. Backstage, Zoey was so proud of her friend. "Ah, she's killing it out there. Let's go finish this," Mira said. Suddenly, they heard a muffled scream behind them. Turning around, they saw Bobby being dragged away by two men, their eyes yellow. "Demons!" "Bobby!" the girls cried. They ran off to chase the kidnappers as the stagehand yelled, "You're on in 20 seconds!" On stage, Rumi was giving the crowd an amazing show. A shining golden disc dropped from the ceiling. She grabbed onto it as it lifted her through the air. So she was twirling over the crowd. She touched the hands of her fans, the Han moon thrumming energetically over them. A glimmer of gold spread throughout the stadium. This was it. The Han moon was going to be sealed. But Mira and Zoey were still chasing the demons. They were about to catch them when Bobby's eyes glowed yellow. Bobby and his two captors laughed, and then poof! All three of them transformed into grotesque monsters before disappearing in a cloud of pink smoke. The real Bobby was still in the green room, safe and excitedly watching Rumi nail her solo. "Yes, Rumi's crushing it!" he exclaimed. Rumi landed gracefully back on the stage, singing like a goddess of song, powerful and ready to finish the performance. She raised her arms overhead in triumph. The Han moon bathed in the most gold it had ever been when the music and lights cut out. The stadium went silent. Okay, friends, hopefully you really enjoyed this story. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.